Today we did division using the area model. I've also seen it called the rectangle model, and I've also seen the area model done in a different way. But let me show you how we did it. So we do, for the first one, we did 72 divided by 2. Our dividend here tells us how many boxes we're going to make in our rectangle. So 72 has 2 digits, so I have 2 boxes. My divisor is the number on the side here, and my dividend goes in this first box at the top. Then I'm focusing on, since I'm in my tens box, I'm focusing on just my tens place, which is the 7. How many times can 2 go into 7? It can go in 3 times. And we put a little multiplication symbol in the corner to help us. 3 times 2 is 6. We had a digit left over, so we put a 0 in both of those places to hold it. Then we subtract. We got 12. This number moves to the next column. We're in our ones place, so we were looking at our digit in our ones place, but since there's also a digit in the tens place, we have to look at both of them together. So 12. How many times can 2 go into 12 without going over? Well, 6 times 2 is 12. So 6 goes up here, subtracting 12 to get a 0. This is my remainder. I do not have a remainder. What we got at the top adds to our quotient, which is our answer, 36. Then we checked it with multiplication. 36 times 2, we made sure that we got 72, which is our dividend. When we moved up to a 3-digit number, so we did 116 divided by 4. This time, my dividend has 3 digits, so my box has 3 boxes. I started with 116 in the top, and 4 is on the side. Then, since I'm in my hundreds box, I looked at my hundreds place. You cannot put 4 into 1 at all. I suppose technically we could have done a 0 and done 0 times 4 and subtracted it and still got 116. But 116 came to our next box. We still put plus signs above all of the lines like we did with multiplication too. How many times can 4 go into 11? So since I'm in my tens box, I'm looking at my tens place, but since there's still a number in the hundreds place, I have to consider both. So I've got the number 11. 2 times 4 is 8. 3 times 4 would be 12 and too much. So it doesn't fit in 3 times, but it fits in twice. So 2 times 4 is 8. I have 1 digit left over, so I'm going to put a 0 there, and I'm going to put a 0 here. This should still be true. 20 times 4 is 80. Subtracting to get 36. 36 moves to the next. 9 times 4 is 36, so 4 can go into 36 9 times. Subtracting, get 0. So my answer, my quotient, is up here, 29. Again, we double checked it by multiplying 29 times 4, and we got our dividend of 116. The last example here is 534 divided by 4. So I have 3 digits in my dividend, so I have 3 boxes. I start with my divisor on the side and my dividend at the top. I have a 5 in my 100s place since I'm in my 100s box. So I'm only focused on the 5 right now. 4 goes into 5 1 time. 1 times 4 is 4. I had 2 digits left over, so I'm going to put 2 zeros in both spots. I'm going to subtract, and I had 134. 134 moves over. I'm in my tens box now, which is a 3, but I also have a hundreds place still, so I have to consider the 13. 4 goes into 13 3 times. 3 times 4 is 12. And I still had a digit, so I put a 0 there. This is still true. 30 times 4 is 120. I subtracted and I got 14. 14 moved over. How many times does 4 go into 14 without going over? 3 times. 3 times 4 is 12. I subtracted 12 and I got 2. This is my remainder. This number should not be bigger than this number. If it is, there is a mistake somewhere. So my answer is up here with my remainder. So we write it as 133 remainder 2. That remainder is a lowercase r. To double check, we do our, we leave the remainder off for a minute. We have 133 times 4, which gives us 532. But then we had a remainder of 2, so when you add our remainder on, that should be your dividend.